Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining today's session. We are about to kick off our last Marketplace office hour for 2025. So thanks, everybody, for joining. I hope you're joining us live today. If you're not able to join us live, hope that you can catch the content here over the holiday break. And again, welcome to our office hour. This is a recurring event that we have with the Marketplace community. And so many of you have probably already been to our office hours over the past couple months. This office hour today is focused on channel partners, with the topic being resale enabled offers. I'm Justin Royal, and I'm the manager of the Marketplace community. If you have not joined the Marketplace community already, definitely encourage you to check it out and subscribe so that you can stay up to date on all of our community events and discussions related to Microsoft Marketplace. And we will put the link to the community on the screen. But just to call it out, it's aka.ms/community/marketplace. So again, we do have a full calendar of these office hours. We typically have 1 or 2 every month. We are already planning sessions for 2026. And so definitely join the community and stay up to date on all of our office hours planned for 2026. Today's session will be focused on resale-enabled offers, and I have with me today Jason Rook and Truk Woyne. I encourage you to type your questions into the chat throughout today's session. We will have time at the end of today's session for Q&A. And so don't hold back from asking your questions. We will have time for a Q&A at the end. So with that being said, I will go ahead and pass it over to Jason and Truk. And thanks again, everybody, for joining.
Excellent. Thanks, Justin. Today's office hours is all about resale-enabled offers. That's the topic for today. And so we'll start with a conversation there, kind of a high-level overview of a little bit of what we announced at Ignite and how it's going so far, and some best practices and some tips and tricks that we've seen so far. And then we'll also do a little bit of a demo here as well. So again, these office hours have been kind of labeled as for channel partners, but we know we have a lot of software companies on the line as well. So we'll try to kind of speak to both audiences, but I'll definitely try to be more specific for channel partners today that are trying to build a marketplace business with Microsoft. So back at Ignite, we announced publicly resale-enabled offers, and these are not a new offer type within Microsoft Marketplace. They're really a feature that enhances existing custom deal making private offer features that we have within Microsoft Marketplace. And what they do is they allow a software company to enable their channel to sell on their behalf. The software company basically takes their existing publicly transactable offer and grants their partners the ability to go sell that via private offer to customers really around the globe. And once the software company enables their offer for a channel partner, that channel partner then can create and manage offers and close deals on that software company's behalf at scale. And I'll talk a little bit about how those relationships may or may not work and how they're working today as well. So really, if you think about the benefits of resale-enabled offers, it's all about enabling the software companies to leverage their channels to sell on their behalf at scale. It also provides a benefit to channel partners where now you have the ability to own the entire sales cycle, if you wish, with the customer. You also now see where customers now have the ability to work with their trusted providers to purchase applications through the marketplace. If you've been with us for a while, you've definitely seen that, especially in markets outside of the US, Canada, and the UK, where customers may have wanted to purchase through Marketplace through a trusted advisor, their local reseller, or the person that sells them all of their software, networking, hardware, gear, and that type of thing. But we were unable to do that. So oftentimes the software company had to kind of go around the channel partner to close a Marketplace deal. With resale-enabled offers, we've basically provided a way for the channel partner to be in the deal throughout the entire process. And then also, when customers purchase applications through this model that are what we often refer to as Azure IP COSO eligible, or what the customer sees as Azure benefit eligible, those, of course, decrement the cloud commitments at 100% of the purchase price. I think that to really understand how resale-enabled offers work, it makes sense to take a moment and think about how private deals or how custom deals in Microsoft Marketplace work. And today we kind of got 3 avenues that we pursue when we try to get an application out of the marketplace and into the customer's hands. Probably the one that most people know about is the software to customer private offer. And this is the one that many of you have seen in your markets around the globe because it's been the only one that's been available in reality. And that's the one where the software company has a deal with the customer. They create a private offer for the customer. They send it over to the customer accepts, they purchase, Microsoft collects, and then Microsoft pays that software company out. This is what we commonly refer to as a customer private offer. What you'll notice here in this workflow is there's no place for the channel partner to participate. And so many of you have seen this model either from the outside looking in or kind of being a part of it but not able to participate. What's important and why I bring this up is that we're going to carry this model forward but find a way to insert the channel partner here. When these deals occur, they occur for customers that primarily purchase on an enterprise agreement or an MCA contract with Microsoft. They can occur on pay-go, but that's pretty unlikely that you'll sell enterprise software to a customer on a credit card, but those commerce models do work for the customer private offer. They always have to start with a public transactable offer that then becomes a private offer. In this model, Microsoft handles all of the collections and payouts. When a customer purchases an app that's Azure benefit eligible, again, it decrements that Microsoft Azure cloud commitment. These purchases apply to things like marketplace rewards benefit tiers, software designations, and especially co-sell. Co-sell is kind of should be a flag for you that, hey, that is where the field gets compensated on these deals. And of course, this model is available globally today. We also have another model that we have had available in Canada, the UK, and the US that we call multi-party private offers. And with a multi-party private offer, we simply insert the channel partner into that deal workflow. So the software company, the channel partner have an opportunity with the customer. They agree on terms and pricing. The channel partner and the software company agree on margin. The software company creates a private offer. They send it over to the channel partner. It's a multi-party private offer in this case. So that channel partner receives it. They add their margin to it. They send it to the customer. Customer accepts, they purchase, Microsoft collects, Microsoft then pays the channel partner their margin, and they pay the software company the remainder less the agency fee. These deals, they occur on pay-go or MCA or EA. Same benefits apply. Decrement the MAC at 100%. Microsoft handles all the collections of payouts. They count for all your marketplace rewards, software designations, and especially co-sell. They also count for marketplace rewards for channel partners. The challenge with these is that they're only available today in Canada, the UK, and the US. So with resale-enabled offers, what we're doing is we're giving software companies and channel partners the ability to sell both of those offer types where NGOs, where they're eligible, to end customers. So we haven't created a new model here. What we're doing is adding the ability for channel partners to sell these types of offers. So I think the most important piece is the actual workflow. And I'm going to spend a few minutes on this workflow because it's really what you need to understand as a channel partner if you think about building one of these businesses, or if you're a software company thinking about how are you going to start to really enable your channel to sell at scale with you. So I'll start with the dotted line box on the left-hand side of this screen. This is the one that is probably the most important. This is the one that's entirely out of Microsoft's view. This is where the software company and the channel partner come together and form an agreement. That agreement could be a number of things, right? It could be around pricing. It could be around the types of terms that the software company likes to see. Maybe the software company only likes to see certain types of private offers go to the customer. Maybe the software company requires the channel partner to register a deal in their deal reg system first, or maybe the software company requires the channel partner to complete an order form before they extend a private offer. All of those types of things can occur in that agreement between the software company and the channel partner. Once those two entities are in agreement on how this is going to work, the software company goes into Partner Center. They're going to select their public transactable offer. They are going to then enable it for resale. So basically, they'll click on a button that says enable for resale. At that point, they'll be asked which channel partner they want to enable. they will insert the channel partner's seller ID. And I'll talk more about seller IDs in a moment, but that seller ID is how they identify which channel partner they're enabling the offer for resale to. At that point, once the offer is enabled for resale, that channel partner will go into Partner Center, and in their offers dashboard, they'll see that offer. So they'll now be able to take that offer and create private offers from that for their end customers. Now, a lot of questions happen at this point. A lot of people ask, hey, are we white labeling the software company's offer? Or does it show up in Microsoft Marketplace? No, it's entirely private. But just like everything in our marketplace, it does start with that public transactable offer. But the minute that software company enables it for resale, the rest of this workflow is entirely private. The rest of the world doesn't see it on Microsoft Marketplace. So let's say a channel partner then has an opportunity with a customer and they agree on terms and pricing. That channel partner then is responsible for going into Partner Center and creating a private offer from the offer in which they've been enabled to resell. They create the private offer, they send it over to the customer sees it in their private offer management portal, which today is Azure portal. They accept the offer, they purchase. At this point, if it is a SaaS application, the software company will be notified that they need to complete the SaaS steps, not the channel partner. Once it's complete, Microsoft then collects from the customer on their Azure invoice. And many of you are aware that we've now moved for next day invoicing for MCA customers, which has brought some of your payments down. But Microsoft follows that same collection and payouts policy that we've had and continue to enhance a little bit over time. Microsoft collects. Microsoft then withholds the agency fee from that collection and pays the channel partner the remainder of all the monies for that software transaction. So all the money goes to the channel partner. It is then the channel partner's responsibility to pay the software company outside of Microsoft's view and outside of Microsoft Marketplace. So that's why that agreement that we started with in this workflow is so important, because it also will define how that channel partner will pay the software company. This, as I mentioned when I started, I talked about the customer private offer. That's what we're enabling here with resale enabled offers, is we're enabling that offer for resale where the channel partner can then go create a customer private offer and transact it. This is available. There are about 140 Microsoft Marketplace markets around the world. It's available in all of them except for 9 exclusions. And we get a lot of questions about why these 9 exclusions. Well, this is all tax and regulatory, right? So there are some markets where the tax regulations are prohibitive to this particular model. So like Brazil, India, Mexico, New Zealand, Singapore, South Korea. There are also some markets that we have some regulatory issues in, right? Microsoft fully would love to go ahead and continue to roll this out to those 9 additional geographies, but we need to wait for some type of a tax or a regulatory change before we're able to do that. It's a very popular question that we get. So this is resale enabled offers in the customer offer motion. For those of you, now I know we have many tuning in from around the globe, but for those of you that sell to customers in Canada, the US, and the UK, we are also using resale enabled offers to enable a multi-party private offer transaction in those areas. So if you think about it, wherever MPO is available, you'll also be able to do MPO deals from offers that have been enabled for resale. And where this really makes sense is where you have a distributor involved. So let's say in this particular workflow, you've got a channel partner who's been enabled for resale. Most likely in this case, it's a distributor. That distributor has been enabled for resale. And now one of their channel partners, maybe perhaps one of their resellers, has an opportunity with a customer. That channel partner will go back to the channel partner who's been enabled for resale. Like I said, most likely a distie in this scenario. That channel partner will go back to the channel partner who's been enabled for resale. The channel partner who's been enabled for resale will not create a customer private offer, but rather a multi-party private offer that they'll send to the channel partner. The channel partner will then modify the offer, add their margin. They'll send it over to the customer. Customer accepts, customer purchases. Even in this case, if it's a SaaS offer, the SaaS notification will go back to the software company. It won't go back to either of those 2 channel partners that are in the workflow. When the purchase is complete, Microsoft will collect on that Azure invoice. And just like we do for typical multi-party private offers, we'll pay the channel partner who sold the deal their margin. We'll pay the channel partner who was enabled for resale the remainder of the monies less the agency fee. That channel partner who was enabled for resale is then responsible for paying the software company their portion of the deal, again, outside of Microsoft's view, outside of Marketplace. I think one of the things that I think is helpful when you think about how you're building this business, your Microsoft Marketplace business, you think about the different private offer, custom deal making scenarios that we have, customer private offers, CSP private offers, multi-party private offers, even ProServe in those markets where MPO is available, is to think about kind of what happens or what needs to occur in each one of these. So with the customer private offer, those occur on PAYGO, EA, or MCA. They're eligible for MAC decrement. I've got a little asterisk here beside agency fee, because when we have the publisher, when the publisher is the software company and they send direct to the customer, they pay the agency fee. When the software company shifts that responsibility of publisher over to the channel partner by enabling them for resale, they then become the publisher and they're responsible for the agency fee. Now they're eligible for Azure sponsorship, count from software designations, rewards, etc. They're open to all partners. If you're enabled for resale, any partner in the Microsoft AI partner program is eligible to participate in a resale enabled offer. If you're kind of comparing and contrasting, if you've worked with CSP private offers, those are only available when the customer purchases on a CSP contract. If you are in one of those markets or you sell into Canada, UK, US, you have the multi-party private offers are available. If you want to do those with or if there's another party like a distributor that wants to help or be in the middle of those deals, they can use an offer that's been enabled for resale. So I think this is helpful if you start to think about how you align your operations and your sales teams against all of these different custom deal making models within Microsoft Marketplace. I mentioned the requirements. The requirements for resale enabled offers are pretty easy for software companies. They need to have a publicly transactable application, right? It's great if it's Azure benefit eligible, but they just need to have a publicly transactable offer in the marketplace. They also need to have some type of a relationship with that channel partner so that they can obtain the seller ID. The requirements for a channel partner to participate are that they're a member of the MAICPP. They need to go and enroll in Commercial Marketplace, and you do that within Partner Center. When you enroll in Commercial Marketplace, you fill out the form, and you'll be given your seller ID. You then use that seller ID to create your tax and payment profile. Once you've got a seller ID and you've got a valid tax and payment profile attached to it, you are eligible to participate in resale enabled offers. There's no special certifications, there's no special tax treaty forms or any of those types of things like there are in multi-party private offers. It's simply you need a seller ID and you need it configured with a tax and payment profile. So what we see is this bar is set pretty low so that we can enable this channel selling at scale across the globe. One of the questions that we often get is, hey, how do we handle the reporting for resale enabled offers? For those of you that have been participating in multi-party private offers, you're probably used to using Marketplace Insights dashboard. For those of you that are new to Microsoft Marketplace, once you start to participate in resale enabled offers, you'll start to see data come in to your Marketplace Insights dashboard. You'll see it in the orders, the revenue, and the usage dashboard. Probably the dashboard that you're going to be the most interested in is the revenue dashboard. That's where you'll start to see as the revenue comes in, where the status of your deals, are they in collections? Have you been paid? How much have you been paid? All of those types of things. So it probably makes sense if you're new to this to start to understand Marketplace Insights within Partner Center. For those of you that are software companies, you will see all the data from your deals except for the end customer pricing. So you'll see the customer, you'll see the offers they purchased, you'll see the channel partner that sold the deal, all of those types of things. But due to compliance, we're unable to share with you the end customer pricing. So it'll be some work for our software companies to start to think about how that changes some of the interaction they have in Marketplace Insights. I know many of you have already built highly sophisticated tools around Marketplace Insights. You'll want to take some time to see a couple of these deals land and understand how you're going to use resale-enabled offer data in your business. So we've been at this for a while. We had a private preview, and then we rolled into general availability on November the 11th. We had a big splash at Microsoft Ignite the week of the 17th of November. And so we've seen quite a few deals come in already. So I think it makes sense to kind of talk about some of the things that we've seen to help you prepare. One of the things that I think is important is how to construct that agreement between the software company and the channel partner. Now, no two agreements seem to be alike thus far. We have software companies that already have agreements in place with all of their channel and they're up and running. We have software companies that had no agreements in place with the channel or with the channel partners that wanted to do REO. So they've been spending some time creating new agreements. We've had some software companies that have all of this ironed out already with distributors. And even in markets where distributors can't necessarily participate, so those non-MPO markets, they're using their distributors as intermediaries there. So there's no one size fits all answer to how to create your contract or your agreement between that software company and the channel partner. We do know that that is a very important point. And what we are seeing is some of those different things we're seeing. I mentioned earlier, some software companies are requiring that channel partners deal reg every deal. They're requiring order forms. Some are just giving their channel partners the offer and letting them sell like crazy as well. So that'll be a conversation you as a channel partner need to have with the software company. We're getting tons of questions about how does a software company know if a channel partner is eligible to sell a deal via resale-enabled offers. And I mentioned the requirements. The requirements are really easy for resale-enabled offers. You just need to be a partner. You need to go to a partner center, click through the boxes to enroll. You get your seller ID, and you attach a valid payment and tax profile to it. So the real way that software companies are going to know if you as a channel partner are ready to sell via resale-enabled offers is if you've completed that step and if you have a seller ID on hand that you can send over to them so they can start to enable offers. Many of you, as you go through this seller ID process, you'll want to think about maybe you'll have multiple seller IDs for different markets. Maybe you'll have different bank accounts that you want to be paid in certain markets, those types of things. So many of our channel partners are thinking through that model today. Many of you already have this established as well because you've done this with other hyperscaler marketplaces over the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, right? So I think those of you that have done that probably bring a lot of prior knowledge to the seller ID conversation. We've gotten a lot of questions so far around how the marketplace rewards work with resale-enabled offers. So for those of you that have participated in marketplace rewards through multi-party private offer, what you know is when we engage with you and we enroll you in multi-party private offer and we put you on the MPO eligible list, we then do the onboarding and talk to you about marketplace rewards, and you enter at the marketplace rewards enrolled tier, which is the tier where you get $5,000 in sponsorship. With resale-enabled offers, many times we don't know that a channel partner is participating in resale-enabled offers until we've seen the deal land in our data. So what we do is when we see a deal land in our data, and if they're not already, if the channel partner is not already enrolled in MPO and we already have a record of them, Channel Ready reaches out to that channel partner and enrolls them in marketplace rewards. So if you're in France and you sell your first marketplace deal through a resale-enabled offer this week and it's $1.2 million US, you'll enter marketplace rewards at the $1 million tier. So I think that's important to realize. We also, when we look at your benefits tiers, we are adding together your MPO revenue plus your REO revenue. So many of you, we even have some on this call that have already sold an MPO deal and an REO deal. We are adding that MBS together to help you advance up those tiers more quickly. Last question that we get a lot of, and then I'm going to turn it over to Troop to walk us through a quick demo, is we get a lot of questions around geo availability, especially around multi-party private offer, and kind of twofold. Some people have asked, hey, is resale-enabled offer going to be a replacement for MPO, or are you going to continue to roll MPO out? Our intent is to continue to roll multi-party private offers out globally. It's an incredibly complicated process for us from a tax and regulatory perspective. We absolutely want to be in markets like the EU, Japan, Australia, global eventually. As we roll out, we will continue to have multi-party private offer and resale-enabled offer available in both markets. And I'll give you some insight from the first 60 days of doing business in this model. About half of our deals have come through that MPO model in the US, Canada, and UK. So the data shows us that we definitely want to have MPO and resale-enabled offers in as many markets as we possibly can, as quickly as we can. So we are still on track, or we still have the intent, I should say, to roll multi-party private offer out everywhere with resale-enabled offer. We also get a lot of questions around geo, around those 9 excluded markets, and our answer there is, if something changes from a tax and regulatory perspective, we will absolutely engage and get resale-enabled offers available in that market as quickly as we possibly can. So with that, it's a little overview. Absolutely make sure you put all of your questions in the comments. I know Heather and Justin and team are going through those right now, and I'll take a look at those while Troop gives us a quick demo. Troop, over to you.
Thank you, Jason. Hi, everyone. I'm Trúc Nguyen. I'm Senior Partner Engagement Manager on the Microsoft Marketplace Fast Track team. So today I will provide you a quick demo how the resale enable offer look like for channel partner, and then we will go over the private offer creation. So first, as you know, after a software company authorize you to resell their solution, in order for you to see that, you will need to go to your partner center. So after you log in, you will see like a list of workspace like this. So you will go to the marketplace offer, and then in the marketplace offer, you will see there are multiple tab here. It will have public offer, private offer, and resale enable offer. So private offer, we will circle back to this one later. For resale enable offer, so this is the view that where you can see all of the authorized offer that software company sent it to you. You see the name of the offer here, and what is the offer type. So for REO, there are 2 offer type that available today. It's a software as a service and the Azure virtual machine here. And then it can tell you that whether you are offer owner or not. So in case that, as a channel partner, you can also have some other solution that you publish in the marketplace, and then you authorize other channel partner to resell your solution too. So in that case, you become the offer owner. But as a channel partner to resell other software company solution, you will see the offer owner here is no. And then the name of the software company that authorize you to resell their solution and the status. So the status live here is mean that the solution is ready for you to resell and create a private offer and transact with the end customer. Then also the second status that you can see here is revoke. Revoke in the case that there are any changes in the agreement, this offer is no longer available for you to resell the solution. So if you have any question about this, you can contact the software company and ask you whether they need to issue a new authorization or not. So that a quick overview of how it looked like for channel partner. And when you click on one of these offer, you will see more information. So you see like the offer name, and then your seller ID in here as well, and then also the market. Sorry, going back. It's very important to I would say, let's pay attention to the selected market here. So you see that for this REO authorization, this offer is only available to Germany, Spain, France, and United States. That means that you can only create a private offer to customer in the selected market. So if you are planning to resell this solution to customer in other region that is not listed here, you would need to contact the software company and ask them to edit the authorization, add more markets there. So I just want to code it out. So next step, we will do a quick demo on how to create a private offer to a customer. Okay, so to create a private offer as a channel partner, you would go back to the marketplace offer dashboard here. You will select the private offer. So in the private offer, there are 3 options here, but for IO, you only either select the customer private offer or multi-party private offer. That's the 2 options that Jason mentioned it before. So for today, we will focus on the customer private offer. So you can just simply select new private offer. When you select new private offer, it will pop up a window here that will ask you to provide a private offer name, and then you will select. So for IEO, you will select either the second option or the third option. The second option is for SaaS offer, and the third option is for VM with software reservation. So for this one, I just provide a name here, just quickly RIO demo V2, and then this is for a SaaS offer. So I will select the second option, and then I select the create button there. So after that, I will start filling out all of the information required for this private offer. The first one is the customer Azure billing account. This you will need to get that from the customer. You can just ask them to provide their Azure billing account. And keep in mind the number is not always a 7-digit number like this. It can be a very long billing account ID too. Next is the description. This is just for your view only. It's not visible to the end customer. The next one is the customer term. There's a 3-day that you have to fill out, the customer start date and the customer end date. The start and end date here is not the contract term. This is just simply it defines the window that the private offer price will be applied if a customer purchased the private offer. And then the third day here is the customer private offer accept by date. So this is the last day that the customer must accept the private offer. Then they can purchase the private offer. So that's the 3-day. That I want to make sure that you fully understand what it means. The next one is the customer terms and condition. This is optional. You can, some channel partner, they want to upload the agreement with their customer, but it's totally optional. You can upload it or you don't. The next session here is the customer renewal. This one also very important, and I encourage you to learn more about this one as well. So for when you create a private offer, we will ask that, hey, is this a customer renewal or not? It means that if you have an existing customer, they purchased a solution from you before, either outside or within the marketplace. Now it's time for renewal, and then you want to transact through the marketplace. That can be qualified as a customer renewal, and in that case, you will select the first option here. But if this is a net new customer, you can select the second option. For the customer renewal scenario, so for every single marketplace transaction, there's a fee that apply, and if this is a renewal, the fee will be discounted at 50%. Next is the notification contact. You can add your team member in this list so that they will be notified if there are any changes in the private offer. Keep in mind that this is for channel partner only. Don't include customer contact here. And then repair by, this one will be visible to the end customer. If they have any question about your private offer, they know who to reach out to. Next is the products offer. So in this private offer, you provide the customer information, the start and end date of the pricing. Now it's time to select the product that include in this private offer. But before we do so, you have to select that whether you are selling your own product offer or you sell a resale enable offer. So for REO, you will select the second option here, sell a select enable offer from another partner. After that, you will select the offer owner. So you will see a list of software company that authorize you to resell that solution. You see, one to many of them, and then if you will select, a software company here, and then just add them to the list. Once you add it, you will select the offer, because they can authorize you to resell multiple product as well. So you will have to select one. So you will click on the create new plan, and then you provide a name that you can customize that for a specific customer, so that you don't have to use the exactly name. Of the offer or the product here. So you can provide a name here, and then there are multiple, like I said, there are multiple products that they authorize you to resell. So you have to pick a product here, and then also select a plan, and then you can also select multiple product from a software company. And so in this case, I only select one plan, and I just add that. So after I add that, I can also go back and add another product from the same software company. I want to call out that REO currently does not support um, uh, bundling multiple product from different software company. So this is something that we are working on, but currently it does not support. So for this one, I only have one product included in this private offer. After that, I will click on configure price, so that I can set the price for this private offer. So when you click on configure price, you will see a couple fields that you have to provide here. So first is the plan description. So this is visible to the end customer. You can just provide a quick description about this plan. And the term there, and then billing and pricing term. So this is how the original offer set up on the software company side. So you will select based on the option that they have, that it's available here. So let's say it's you need a 5-year term, for example. You don't see it here, so you need to contact the software company and ask them to update the offer, so that you can see that option. But for this one, this is a 3-year term. 3-year term contract. So I will select the 3-year term. And then I will have the option that whether I want to build a customer per year or flexible schedule. So let's select per year and see what happens. So when I select per year, you see that now I have to provide the price per year here. So I just simply enter like $100 per year. And it's also give me the option to calculate the price here. So I can see that it's a $300 for the 3-year term here. So now I decided, no, I don't want to, charge the customer per year. I want to charge them on the day that in the agreement with the customer. So I would select the flexible schedule. So if I select the flexible schedule, I will have the ability to define the day and the amount that I want to charge. So I can just simply select add charge here. And then, so first is it will ask you that, hey, do you want to charge the customer immediately as soon as they complete? In this case, I don't want to. I want to charge the customer a month later. So I can just add the second day, select the day that I want, the amount, and I can also provide a quick note, so that when my customer receive this private offer, they will know that what is this for. So this is one for year 1, and the same thing. I repeat the same step. I add 2 more charts for the next, for the second and the third year, and the amount accordingly. And it's also provide me the total amount for this private offer too. So that is the all of the information that you have to provide for the private offer. And if everything look good, you can select review and submit. This doesn't mean that it will submit the private offer to the customer right away. It will, validate all of the information that you enter, making sure that it's valid. And you also have a chance to review all of the information that you enter here, making sure that it's ready to go. And once it's ready to go, you can go ahead and click submit. When you click submit, you will be routed to the private offer dashboard here. So you will see the REO demo V2 private offer that I just create. You will see the status. So within like 5 minutes, you will see the status change to pending acceptance. So pending acceptance means that the customer is ready, it's live, and it's ready for the customer to accept. So what you will do is you're gonna copy the link here, and then you either send to the end customer, or it depend on your process, you may have to email your account team, and the account team will send an email, let the customer know that the private offer is ready for them. So that is how you create a private offer to the end customer. The customer will then accept the private offer, and then they will purchase a private offer. For SaaS offer, it requires an activation step on the software company. So you want to, let them know. They also set up some notification on their side if there's any customer subscribe or purchase their solution. But it's also good to let them know that, hey, the customer complete the purchase. It's time to activate their subscription. And again, this is for SaaS offer only. VM offer does not require the activation. So after the customer complete the purchase, the activation is done. You will, as a channel partner, you will receive an email confirmation like this instantly. It's confirmed that your customer complete the purchase, and then this is the confirmation that the transaction is complete. So yeah, that is all. That's all of the steps that need for a private offer creation. With this, I will pass it back to Jason.
Excellent, Truth. That was fantastic. Thank you. We are getting close to the end here. We've got a number of questions that I'm going to try to go through as quickly as possible. So I just try to go and kind of in some groups here. A lot of questions about who gets credit and what the SDCs see. So I mentioned earlier in Marketplace Insights, especially in your revenue dashboard, if the software company will not see the end customer pricing. If the software company needs to see that, that definitely is something they can put together in their agreement with the channel partner. But there's a question also like, hey, if I can't see my pricing or the end customer pricing, how do I know? Am I still getting things like marketplace rewards? Yes, that publicly transactable offer when the process starts and it's enabled for resale, it carries forward all the attributes from that offer. So IP co-sell eligibility, and all the other attributes, and at the end it collects all the attributes. So yes, it was an IP co-sell deal, so it's eligible for our field seller compensation. It was eligible for marketplace rewards for everyone who participated in the deal, the software company, the channel partner. If it was a two-tiered or a multi-party private offer deal in one of those geos, not only the channel partner that sold the deal, but the channel partner that was enabled for resale, all of those components. Also the revenue that accounts for the software designation. So that's a little bit about how the attributes work and who gets rewarded for these deals, and what happens in the case where the SDC doesn't see that in customer pricing. Does it roll into the other programs? Absolutely. There's some questions about CSP. So there was does REO work with CSP? CSP is an entirely different model. See, the question that you should always ask when you have a marketplace opportunity, whether you're a software company or a channel partner, is how do you purchase, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, how do you purchase your Azure from Microsoft? If they purchase on an EA or MCA contract, you know that this can be a resale enabled offer opportunity. If they say I purchase on a CSP contract, then they have to purchase their marketplace applications through the CSP model. So if you are the CSP partner that owns that customer's tenant and you want to sell a software company's application to that customer via marketplace, the best thing you can do is reach out to that software company and ask them for a CSP private offer. And then they can create a CSP private offer for you, they'll have margin embedded, and you can then sell that deal to the customer via the CSP private offer motion. So always ask, how does the customer purchase their Azure? Another question about marketplace rewards. Which entity in these deal flows should use their rewards benefits? That's really up to the software company and the channel partner. In some cases, we've already seen software companies that have told their channel partners, I want to utilize all of my rewards, so I'm going to do all of the Azure sponsorship requests and those types of things. In other cases, we've already seen channel partners that already have a process in place, the way they like to manage their rewards budget and the way they like to utilize it, so they've kind of led in that place. We're still early days with resale-enabled offers across the globe. Many of the channel partners that are starting to participate had no idea about marketplace rewards, so they're just starting to learn. But I think the rule of thumb here is to work with the software company and understand how you're going to handle deals that require marketplace rewards to get completed. Lots of questions about field credit and those types of things. I just answered those at the deals at Azure IP co-sell deal. It is a co-sell deal for our field. Another interesting question from somebody who obviously has sold some MPO deals in either the Canada or US or UK is, why would I choose MPO or REO over MPO? There are different reasons for this. There are software companies that are going to prefer one model over the other. Some software companies may prefer to be paid by Microsoft, so they like the MPO model. In some cases, there are channel partners that may prefer to receive top-line revenue as opposed to just the margins on the deal. So they may want to do a resale-enabled offer over a multi-party private offer. You may find yourself doing, I think we're already seeing this just within 60 days in our data, channel partners that are doing both REO and MPO already. And some of them are doing MPO through distributors who have been enabled for resale. So I think it'll come down to what's right for your business and the particular deal. Another question that I think is interesting, because I did spend some time on the topic, the question that we keep getting is from software companies, how do I know which channel partners to use? The question was, how do I know which software companies to go sell? I would say that the answer here is to think about the software companies that align to your business. If you already have someone that you do a really good job of selling and you make money with them, that's great. If there's a software company that aligns well to another business you're trying to grow, like your ProServe business or your managed services business, that might be a great spot to focus as well. One of the other changes that occurred with the new Microsoft Marketplace is now anyone can go to Microsoft Marketplace and see all of the applications that are Azure benefit eligible. So you may even think, hey, I've got a lot of enterprise customers that have Macs. I probably want to look for ISV or software companies that are Azure benefit eligible. And you can go to the marketplace and look for some of those today. You may see, maybe you like to sell a firewall into enterprise customer. You might look at some of your firewall vendors and see which ones have Azure benefit eligible applications that you can use. We did have a question come in around the agency fee, and the question was specifically, could we use the software company's agency fee as opposed to our own? In this model with resale-enabled offers, we're treating that channel partner like the publisher, so we are applying the agency fee to that channel partner, and the default at Microsoft is 3%. If you do get in a situation where you're selling a lot of marketplace deals, MPO, REO, and you're getting some substantial revenue, you can go, especially if you're a managed partner, you can go to your PDM or you can go to Microsoft and you can ask for a lower agency fee just like the software companies do. Over time, I think we'll see more of that, but it is the default 3% today, and that is non-negotiable on can we use the SDC versus the channel partners rate. And then the last question that I think is interesting, especially since we have a global audience, is there was a question about indirect EAs. And does REO work with indirect EAs? The answer is absolutely yes. In an indirect EA, many of you that are in the US, Canada, and UK may not be familiar with these, but they're quite popular throughout the globe. There's a situation where a channel partner, normally a scale partner, is the partner administrator on a customer's enterprise agreement. And so they act as an intermediary between Microsoft and that end customer. And in this case, with the resale-enabled offer deal, they just act as the intermediary as they do with any other Microsoft first-party purchase. The interesting thing, though, is that they can also be the enabled partner for resale. So one of those partners who manages the customer's EA for them in the indirect EA model, maybe they sell firewalls through the cloud marketplace. Maybe they've been enabled by a software company that sells firewalls, and they could actually go sell through a resale-enabled offer to their customer and play both roles in that model. So yes, absolutely, you can sell to customers on indirect EAs. And with that, I think that's the end of the questions that we saw come in. I know this has been a long office hours. I think Justin mentioned that there are a number more, so we'll get the posting of all of the upcoming for the rest of the Microsoft fiscal year, so January through June. We still have many of the topics that are TBD. I think what we are doing is figuring out those topics based by your input. So if you have more topics that you want us to cover, put them in the comments. And with that, Justin, I'll ask you to close us out here.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Truk. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Again, if you have any questions after today's live event, feel free to post them directly on the Marketplace community site. We do have a link specific to this event that you can watch the event after today's live session. And you actually won't be able to post new questions on the event page, but you can post discussions on the Marketplace community discussion board related to resale enabled offers, and we will make sure to answer your questions in the Marketplace community. Again, encourage you to check out the community link at aka.ms/community/marketplace for the full calendar of upcoming office hours that we have. And yeah, thanks everybody for joining. Have a great holiday break and see you in 2026. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.